orientation is locked. Why? We have to figure that one out. Just down these boots.
Some guy told me, why don't you wear any other clothes? Why are you concerned with why are you concerned with what another nigga's wearing? I don't know. Should ask you something. Maybe. And I don't know why you're complaining. My style is always different in every video. Like, I'm always mixing and matching colors, always trying different aesthetics, I'm always doing different things. I don't know. Now, the final characteristic of your own frequency, and it's almost foundational to everything. So please listen to this. Let's get it. Why would it? You want to leave it? Someone commented, I'm 71 years young and this is the best channel I've come across. Thank you so much, El. It's truly a pleasure and it's an honor. This goes for anybody who's older than me watching. To be honest, it goes for all of you. Thank you all. Not that I asked, but thank you very much. It's a pleasure. And it's an honor for you guys to trust me to, get you to where you need to be. I mean, as I say, spirituality is about the ability to control your reality, vanity, and I truly do think, what's the point of it's not being alive isn't the same as living. You're not living until you're in control, and you're not in control until you can rearrange yourself and control yourself in anime, which is a spiritual science, which is exactly what I've spent 8 years studying. Now, like I said, the final characteristic of your old self, the old version of you, is that it's scared. And it's scared because you want to leave it. You have to understand, this entity it's the creation of you. It is X amount of years old, it's had so much energy, it's had so much mental energy and emotional energy from you. It's almost been someone that's been there with you for every single highs and lows. At your lowest point, it was there, once again feeding off your energy. At your highest points, it was also feeding off your energy. But lowest and highest in the particular paradigm of it, of course. And you want to leave it. You want to enter a new reality, which means that it is not going to exist anymore. It's just not going to be around. And you have to understand, it does something very, very sneaky. It does something very, very sneaky. And I need you to pay attention to this because I see this pattern within clients, I see this pattern within friends, and even myself. I struggle with some of this stuff too. I don't think I'm some guy who's levitating all through walls. I go through regular stuff just like you. Now, it plays a trick. The trick is this, and please write this down, please. The trick that your old frequency will play on you is to project its fear onto you, so you get scared of moving forward. Because due to the magic M of the universe, remember the magic M of the universe? Once you begin to feel scared, so here's what it does. When it can feel you pulling away and actually getting closer to your desired reality, it begins to get scared because it's like, oh shit, I'm going to lose him, I'm going to lose her. So then it's like, let me take my fear and give it to him or her. So then they begin to feel fear. And then they associate that fear with taking a step forward. And because now you're afraid to take a step forward, you end up not taking a step at all. But then due to how the universe works, due to you being a microcosm of the universe, and due to the magic M of the universe, that fear that you have gets magnified. And how does it get magnified? It gets magnified through creating circumstances that maintain, perpetuate, and give you something to be scared about. Very, very dangerous trick. This is why you see all the time when people have been in toxic relationships or unfunctional relationships and they've come across someone good, the old frequency that has been created over years of toxic partners and being treated badly is now alive, it exists, so now it wants to continue giving you bad partners because it wants to stay around. But now when it can feel you getting into a functional relationship, it begins to get scared, project that fear onto you. Then that fear gets magnified through you probably self-sabotaging yourself, through picking arguments and all these silly things, and you can see somebody who's in a relationship that should be perfectly fine, all of a sudden doing the absolute most. I see this with clients just before they're about to go to the next level, they end up taking a big knock or going through some form of adversity because their own frequency scared projects that fear onto them. That fear gets magnified and compounded into reality that materializes as a circumstance that gives them something to be afraid about instead. Remember, fear is powerful and attractive for what you don't want to come find you, a beacon of light. So then they get scared and they're like, I might as well stay again. And this happens more often than you think. Extrapolate this to any aspect of your life. Think about any time you're about to move to a new level. You're scared. Why? Not because you're scared, because the old frequency is scared. And it projects that fear onto you, and you internalize that fear as associating that step forward, that new reality with fear, so then you don't take a step. But then when you do take an attempt to take a step, by then you've already internalized the frequency of fear. Because you've internalized the frequency of fear, you then materialize circumstance or a condition of reality that perpetuates something for you to be afraid. And this is simple. Anytime that you get scared in your progression, understand what it is. You're like, that's not me. That's you. It's not me, it's you. And once you do that, you completely flip the game. And you transmute the game entirely, because now it's like, and because of that, the balance, the scales completely change. The tables turn. And you're no longer the one who's feeling fear, because you know that fear isn't yours. It's old frequency projecting it onto you. It's very, very tricky, isn't it? It's very, very tricky. It's like what Sun Tzu said. He says, if you know yourself and the enemy, you don't need to fear the result of 100 battles. And he says something else to the effect of, if you know yourself but not the enemy, with every win you're taken off or something like that. It's a great quote. I'll get AJ to put it up. Extremely metaphysical. But that being said, now you know how your old version of you thinks. So when these things pop up, you just come back to this video, make sure you understand the game of what's really going on. It's a mental game. The first law of the universe. The concept that I'm going to be breaking down today, the law in particular that I'm going to be breaking down, is 13 billion years old. It is literally the first law of the universe. And unfortunately, until you understand how the universe works, then you don't understand how you work. If you don't understand how you or the universe works, you won't be able to enter your desired reality for the mere fact that you are directly interconnected, one with the universe. You are actually a microcosm, a small fraction of the entirety of the universe. And this ain't law of attraction, and this ain't law of assumption either. Just for the extra smart spiritual niggas that think they already know what this is going to be. But you may have an inclination of what this is going to be. But it's important that we actually go through the first law of the universe. And this is going to be I was going to say 7 weeks, but I'd be lying to you niggas. How many months? It's going to be a 7-part series. I'm not going to tell you when they're going to come out, but they're going to come out. And this has been highly requested by you guys. I always tell you, I'm in the comments, so you're going to get some. Now, it's important that it's important that I preface what I'm about to go through today with this. Within this particular industry, and you can extrapolate this to the entirety of life, there's what's called principles and there's what's called techniques. Now, principles are foundational, they're boring. And because they're boring, they're not sexy, so they're not going to catch your eye. But the thing about principles is that they're timeless and they're eternal. And so long as you master the principles at a foundational level, you won't be as reliant on the techniques as you are. Chances are, if you're like me, when I was trying to figure all of this stuff out, we go from technique to technique, trying to see what's the latest and only technique that works. But one thing that I want to tell you that the manifestation industry won't is that there are no secret techniques. There are no techniques that work. The only technique that will ever work is you. There's the emotional conviction that you pour into a particular technique that actually activates it. And that emotional conviction is a principle that I'm going to be touching upon in this video today. Now,
Whoa.
how familiar are you guys with the Hermetic principles? Because what we're going to be covering today is the first law of the universe, known as the law of mentalism. Now, if you've ever read the Kabbalion, I feel sorry for you. Because that book, hey, do you ever read the Kabbalion? It's just like reading Shakespeare, nigga. Like, it's terrible. Like, it's so, like, it's written by 3 initiates. One of them is actually called William Walker Atkinson, and I know that because I've done research into them. He's got a bunch of other books about success and magnetism, so on and so forth. Really cool. And a book on esoteric Christianity. He's different levels. But, and this is one of the recommendations that I'm going to be giving you guys. I know you've been asking me, Nero, you've read over 400 books on the topic of spirituality. When are you going to do book recommendations? Relax, you're going to get some. But for now, this is foundational. This, if you don't have this in your library, then you're not working with the principles in what I just said. Because you won't need law of attraction, law of assumption. Here's the thing. People always try to say, oh, it's Nero, law of attraction, law of assumption. You niggas need to stop trying to put me into a box. Because I'm neither of those things. I'm law of whatever fucking works. And you should be too. Don't end up getting yourselves into these little groups and cults with the ideas that this is the right way, this is the right way. Ironically, due to the fact that there's no truth other than what the subconscious mind sees as the truth, if you believe that this is the right way, then it will be the right way. Not because everybody else is wrong, but merely due to the fact that you believe it. Now, I'd like to start this particular video off with this. First, let's actually understand the difference between laws. Because as humans, we have a particular conceptualization of laws, which when we magnify that and as we transcend, on a universal level, it doesn't actually apply to the same way. So on a human level, we have human laws, and they're just rules. That's what they are, essentially. They're rules. And this exists on a societal level. And typically we think about the laws, so on and so forth. And we carry this idea that because most of us understand that these rules can be bent, pause, or broken, we carry this inherent idea when we begin to move into the realm of universal laws. We come with this idea that you can avoid the laws or you can change them. And this, remember, this is human laws. And you need to understand that there's no compartmentalization in your mind. I know people believe in compartmentalization, but there's not. What you have adjusted or attributed to be a law in one aspect, when we take that over to universal laws, your mind is going to attempt to put it or paint it over with the same brush, but it is not the same. Universal laws, on the other hand, are rules, yes. They're rules the same way. But the difference is, these rules cannot be broken. Cannot. So, you can get into trouble as a human, maybe get a good lawyer, pay a couple money here, settle like certain individuals, so on and so forth. But you can't settle with the universe. There's no negotiations, there's no settling. You can hire Harvey Specter, nigga, it's not going to make a difference.
Harvey
The universe
Specter.
is what's considered
He must be that
immutable.
nigga over there.
Universal laws are considered immutable. And because they're immutable, they're impersonal. So for example, as a human, let's say you have a court case and it goes wrong. You can be like, oh, the jury done me dirty, the court done me dirty, my lawyer done me dirty, the other lawyer done me dirty, so on and so forth. There is no doing people dirty in the universe. The universe treats everybody the exact same way. Hence why biblically, esoterically, it is written in Acts 10:34 that God is no respecter of persons. Or if you look at other translations, it says God shows no favoritism. God being no respecter of persons is nothing more than a reference to the impersonal nature of the universe. Now let's take the concept of gravity. Take the most evil nigga that you know. If he falls off a building,
I like how this looking so far though.
Die the same way.
Goodness
As the
gracious.
most innocent, angelic baby would also hit the ground and the same way. For the mere fact that gravity isn't going to stop and be like, no, hold on. Let's let him fall, but let's save her because it doesn't work like that. Electricity isn't going to stop and think, how many heaven points does this person have before I shot him?
Heaven point.
Fire isn't going to think the same way. And this is what you need to come to the true esoteric understanding of what God really is on the deep level. On the esoteric level, God is an impersonal energy that is considered to be the most high frequency, hence why it's the most high. And another way of saying impersonal energy is consciousness. And consciousness is a substance of reality, which we're going to get into with this law in particular of mentalism. But I just like to preface it with the fact that when we're talking about universal laws, don't think that you get special treatment from the universe. You're not getting special treatment. You're not. The universe is immutable and it's impersonal and its laws cannot be broken. All of our suffering, and this is a bar, write this down because I've already said it in my head. All of our suffering as humans comes from our inability to align ourselves with universal laws. Because when you try to attempt to go against universal laws, you attempt to go against God. And when you attempt to go against God, you go against yourself because God is within, which results in internal conflict, which is then manifested and projected and externalized as outer conflict. You must be in direct alignment with the universal laws, so it's important that you get to them. Now, you guys are probably thinking, yeah, but
Later on, I'm gonna do something with this soul. Probably hit
those are
it
nothing
black.
more than humanistic
I'll probably just make it
conceptualization
black.
of the
To
seven
match the
hermetic
top.
principles as we're going to be seeing over this series. It's not like the universe says, I'm going to create this law called law of assumption, and then it ticks it off that somebody acts within it and acts in accordance to it. It doesn't work like that. They're nothing more than our societal conceptualizations of the hermetic principles. Now, a little history lesson on the hermetic principles. They actually come from an entity, yes, an entity known as Jehuti or Tehuti or Thoth to the Egyptians, Mercury to the Romans, Hermes to the Greeks, Kunkunkan to the Mayans, Enoch in the Bible, the Prophet Idris in the Quran. This is an entity that has reincarnated over multiple particular lifetimes and supposedly comes from a different civilization. Now, I don't want to get into spiritual niggas that believe that, you're this and that. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were like, yeah, I just have to get in contact with my planet of origin. Like, what? What's that? See, that's the thing when you're on spirit hole, AJ. Different planets, galactic this, all of this, all of that. Believe it or not, some of these spiritual niggas will sit there and channel alien messages. And they'll be like, on my mom's life. On my mom's life. On my mom's life. By the way, that's our British version of what you Americans think. Oh, my mama, bro. Speaking of which, to my Americans, I think it was maybe a week since I've eaten Chick-fil-A. I'm back in the UK. That's all I can think about. Apparently, they put addictive chemicals in the burgers in Chick-fil-A. I think I'm addicted because it's all I've been thinking about. All I want is that spicy deluxe.
Take one hit to get a crackhead.
And just take a bite. Pause. Nah, it's crazy. It's all of it. It's really bad. Like,
yes. Yes. This shit is horrible.
It's not like the same. Because
all the fucking chemicals you find in that bullshit.
I want them to be like the Americans and not care about our health, all them toxic chemicals. Niggas are talking about Chick-fil-A's low vibration. Nigga, let me eat. Let me eat. Let me eat. Alright, cool, guys. So, lucky. So, first point about mentalism.
That's the least of your words, nigga. You hooked.
The law of mentalism.
Says it's been a week and he's hooked. He fainted for a fucking Chick-fil-A.
Here's what is considered the axiom, which is
chicken sandwich, nigga.
Is mind, the mind is all. One thing that I'd also like to mention is that the foundation of a lot of these particular societies is Hermetic philosophy, which is the Kabbalion. And I know this is friends who are in certain societies, and they tell me that this is what they study. This is foundational. So don't get caught up in the gimmicks of the 369 method. Write down your journal and blue ink. This is the best way to do your vision board on Pinterest. This is the perfect affirmation that you need to make yourself. Don't get caught up in all of that shit, because all of that stuff is shiny objects in your. And so long as you chase these shiny objects, you'll be negating the shiniest object in the universe, which is you. So let's go to the foundational principles, because what you don't realize about the Hermetic principles is that they're not something that's outside of you, they're something that is within you. Just as Jesus said esoterically in the Gospel of Thomas, the kingdom of heaven is inside and outside of you. The universe is inside and outside of you. And these particular concepts, you're bound by them. So you need to stop thinking like a human, start thinking like a universe. Now, That was a bar right now. Now, the all is mind is all. Now, what does this particular axiom mean? Well, the first thing that you have to come to an understanding of is that the Hermetics believe that the best way to categorize God is as the all, because God encompasses everything in our reality. All. The entire world, all the people, all the bad things, all the good things. God is above the law of polarity, which is another law I'll be covering in the next couple of, I want to say weeks, but I'll be lying to you niggas. Eventually, you're going to get some. Just relax. It's the conceptualization, or more so an encompassing of everything. And what they're saying is that God is mental. But more specifically, we exist in the mind of God. Now, this is very, very tricky. We exist in the mind of God. Now, that may be a tricky concept for you to come to an understanding of, but think about it like this. Peter Parker first existed in the mind of Stan Lee. Peter Parker had Uncle Ben, right? He had a girl, so on and so forth. He had a life, he had a personality, he went to a school. He existed as a creation in the mind of Stan Lee. We, all of us, exist in the mind of God, which means that inherently, because we exist in the mind of God, our universe is somewhat a mental world. Hence why the other aspect of this particular axiom, which is the universe is mental. But I'll get back to that. But right now, you just need to come to the understanding that the all, so God is mind, and mind is all. Now, bear in mind, when I'm saying all, or when they're talking about all, they're talking about everything in reality. They're talking about this whiteboard, they're talking about doors, they're talking about door handles, they're talking about cars, they're talking about people, they're talking about shades. Everything within this third dimensional realm that exists is mind. Mind, mental, same thing. Another way of saying mind, essentially, is consciousness. Another way of saying consciousness is mental world. The entirety of this world is mind. The all is mind, and the mind is all. And I'll give you. Let me give it to you. Hold on, pause. Let me give it to you. Hey. So, let's take this concept, right? So, inherently, we live in a material world. This physical plane that we live in is a world of materiality. It's physical. It's tangible. Trying to decide if I really want to go out tonight.
Someone said, I'm gay, and oh my god, that bowl is clean. And why the baby oil? Bro, an extra towel to do the extra reds on the board.
Why the baby oil? It's because for the longest time, the members of this channel have been accusing me of being oiled up. So I just decided to just end the allegations. If you can't beat them, join them, innit? And I was not oiling up prior to that, and I'm not oiling up. AJ thinks I'm still oiling up, but I'm not.
He probably looked the most oiled up you've ever been.
Right now?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
Anyways, so back to the point that I was saying. We live
Left-handed.
in a world that is inherently material. We live in a material.
I don't even realize that I'm blocking the camera most
material
of the
world.
time.
Another way of saying that is a world of matter. Because the universe, the world around us is made out of matter, hence why we can touch things and it's tangible. Matter is a combination of particles. Now here's the thing about matter. Anything in this world, whether it's a book, whether it's a spray bottle, whether it's a pen, whether it's shades, whether it's a microphone, a vest, a whiteboard wiper, handles on a rail, pavement, concrete, lampposts, buildings, skyscrapers, bungalows, hotels, strip clubs. I didn't even go to a strip club in Miami, can you believe it? Anywho, everything in this entire third dimensional realm first existed in the mind of an individual. Think about it like this. If we exist in the mind of God, in the same way that Spider-Man existed in the mind of Stan Lee, then that means we existing in the mind of God means that our world is inherently mental. So before anything can be created, it is first a mental creation. Before anything can be created, it first must be a mental creation. This includes matter. Now, and I want you to think about it like this. Consciousness and the world are one. So when it says the universe is mental, it is talking about the physical plane, but it's also talking about the spiritual. And then I spoke about this from the creation of what's considered egregores, which are thought forms, which then are created from mental and emotional energy, which then pick up a particular vibratory rate, which then exists on the spiritual plane, which then eventually compounds and becomes an actual entity, which is a being without physical
You can't
body.
see none
That's
of this,
something
can
else
you?
entirely. But on
Fuck.
this physical plane level, what we consider
I just be
consciousness,
flowing.
mind,
That's
and matter is one. And I want you to think about it like this. Let's think about it like ice and steam. So let's say that matter is like ice. You can touch matter, you can touch ice. You can't really touch steam. You can't. In the same way that you probably can't touch consciousness, you can't touch the mind. The thing about steam and ice, just like matter and consciousness, is that they are the same energy. Same energy. There's only one difference between both of them. Do you know what that is, Agent? Oh, I don't. Go on. The rate of vibration. Bingo. The rate of vibration. That is the only difference between steam and ice. It is the exact same energy, small H2O. The only difference is the rate of vibration. Once you alter the vibration of water to a certain degree, it can become ice, and then it can also become steam. And this is the same thing when it comes to matter and consciousness. And quantum mechanical experiments show this, such as the observer effect. It shows our ability to alter the behavior of particles based upon our own consciousness. And it's for the mere fact that our consciousness and matter in the universe and particles are directly interconnected because they're made from the exact same energy. Their only difference is their rate of vibration. Now, this energy is what the Hermetics consider the orb. Same thing here. Ice to steam, same energy, only difference, rate of vibration. Which would mean, and write this down, the world you live in is a world of essentially frozen imagination. Let's write that down.
oh, really?
Make sure you're taking notes and leaving them in the comments per usual. The world you live in is a world of frozen imagination. In the same way that you can touch ice, but you can't touch steam. But when you alter the vibration of steam, it then becomes ice. When you alter the vibration of consciousness, it eventually becomes matter and becomes something that you can touch. The world that we live in is frozen imagination, it's frozen consciousness.
What's up, man?
So when the Hermetics say the universe is mental, they literally mean it. Eventually, when I go out this room, I'll be putting my hand on a door handle. That door handle is frozen imagination. As I'm holding this pen is frozen imagination. As I touch this whiteboard is frozen imagination. As you walk and you see cars, it's frozen imagination. And this is how you need to begin to alter things internally. Because once you begin to see everything as a particular frozen state of consciousness, because that's what it is, even a book, even my PC right here, everything is frozen imagination. And once you begin to reinforce that in your mind, you begin, without realizing it, to unconsciously see your world as inherently moldable. Because everything that you've been taught about the world to see as something that is real isn't real at all. Even down to a physical level. If you was to take a powerful microscope and zoom in on even this whiteboard, you'd see that the particles are in constant movement, constant motion. So it can't be real if our definition of real is something that's associated with permanent, because these particles are moving. And this goes into the law of rhythm, but this is for another time. But the world is frozen imagination. And here's the thing. People often say, mind over matter. But the truth of the matter is that mind and matter are one. You can't be over matter because you are matter and you are mind. Mind and matter are one. And this sets in motion a powerful line of thinking, because once you begin to see that your world is matter, you want to alter your world. What most people try to do is to alter the world by altering the world. To alter matter by altering matter, that doesn't make sense. If you want to alter the particular matter or world that you live in, you first need to see what is it dependent on. And that matter is nothing more than the altered vibratory rate of consciousness. So if you're able to alter your state of consciousness, you're then inherently able to affect what is produced in the realm of matter. Does that make sense? Good. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the way that you need to be looking at the world is inherently a mental world, which is the complete opposite of what you've been taught to conceptualize it as, based upon the way that you were raised, based upon the way that we are raised in society. We're taught to see the world as nothing more than a physical world. And because it's been so conditioned into our mind as a physical world, we associate all changes to be physical without coming to the true understanding that if the universe is mental, if we want to alter our universe, then what we need to do is to alter our mental, which is the process of everything that we do on this channel. As I always say to you niggas, spirituality without the ability to control your reality is vanity. And it is your ability to control your reality that is the epitome of spiritual mastery. Because the process of altering your reality is a spiritual one, because the process of you altering your consciousness to alter matter. I'm just going to let that marinate for you guys. Now, here's the thing. By the way, guys, you guys know every once in a while, somebody will come to me with a certain level of anxiety and I'll cure it. And everybody will be like, Nero, how did you cure their anxiety? And somebody will be like, oh my God, Nero, you just got rid of all the anxiety that I've had, like so on and so forth. And you always know, so I'm going to do it right now. And I've done this in every other video. Well, some. I'm curing anxiety all the time, guys. So, if you want your anxiety to be cured, go listen to a song called C Biz, The Game Is Mine. It might even be a 2-minute job. Pause. And just, life will be changed forever. Don't say I didn't tell you. Now, so, as I was saying, the thing about the Hermetics is that they say that the universe is mental, and they're completely true. And this goes down to very deep, deep levels, because here's the thing. If we take the axiom, the universe is mental, that would mean that based upon, and across 8 billion different people, because there's 8 billion different people on this planet, there's 8 billion different universes. Because if the universe is mental, then the universe that you live in, we don't all have the same particular mental state. We don't all have the same state of consciousness. All our consciousness and all our mental states are completely different. We're all on different frequencies. So that would mean that because not everybody has the same mental, that would mean that not everybody is in the same universe. Which would mean that what you experience as your world and your universe is just that, yours. Because this is directly interconnected to your mental, your state of consciousness. 8 billion people on the planet, and there's 8 billion universes, 8 billion worlds, which is why we don't live in the same world as people. Hence why we can experience the exact same thing and walk away with completely different opinions on what happened or versions of what happened, because we are experiencing different versions of reality based upon being different versions of frequencies. Because here's the thing, what you don't realize is that your consciousness or your frequency puts you into a different world. So when we're talking about the universe is mental, across many different people having different particular frequencies, different states of consciousness, multiple people are in different worlds. But your universe is nothing more than the creation of your mental, which would mean that based upon some of the mental beliefs that people hold in their head, they will be put into different universes, which actually brings me to an important sub-law of the universe is mentally, which is you make the law.
How would it look green? Yeah, we're green. Let's see.
You make the laws of your reality. Now, this is very important to understand, because if the world that you live in or your universe is solely dependent upon your particular state of consciousness on a deeper level, your beliefs, and your beliefs are just emotionally charged ideas. Emotionally charged, accepted ideas. And if you want to discover your beliefs, in simple way to discover your beliefs, and always remember this, because this is going to be something that you're continuously iterating as you go through life, because unfortunately, you can't be beliefless. We go from one box to another, one box to another. If you want to know what your beliefs are, then just tell me and tell yourself what you believe to be true about the world. Whatever you believe to be true about the world isn't actually true, because as they also say in the Hermetic philosophy, all truths are half-truths. All truths are half-truths for the mere fact that there is no truth in reality other than what the subconscious mind accepts as truth. And what the subconscious mind accepts as truth isn't necessarily what's been repeated. I know that's a belief that one of the languages of the subconscious mind is repetition, and it is. But the highest and most powerful language of the subconscious mind that will make belief useless is emotion. The most emotionally charged and accepted ideas are accepted as beliefs, which then go into the subconscious mind, which are then manifested into your universe as truth, without coming to the understanding that you make the laws of your reality. And I'll give you some examples of this very, very shortly. Let me wipe my book.